Before we get into our fourth episode of the Caddy Corner, just a couple of quick housekeeping items. If you're listening on Spotify, if you could leave me a 5-star review, really helps me. If you're watching on YouTube, if you could hit the subscribe button below, hit that like button, and leave a comment as to what your favorite part of the interview was. All that stuff really helps me grow the brand here as I'm growing the Scratch Golf Show on YouTube with the YouTube algorithm. So please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to follow us on Instagram, all of our socials are linked below, but Instagram is probably where I'm most active, where I post most of my updates for new videos and interviews. So make sure you hit me a follow on Instagram. As always, our interviews here at the Scratch Golf Show are brought to you by Core Chiropractic and Performance Center, a local family-owned business. Dr. Billy just had me adjusted a couple weeks ago, had me feeling like $1 million for the fall golf season. Him and Dr. Maddie do a number of different services to chiropractic, rehabilitation, sports performance. So if you're local to the area, please check them out at corecpc.com. Schedule your free consultation and mention the Scratch Golf Show upon arrival to receive a discount on your first appointment. Now, I hope you enjoy the interview with Smarty and Ricey. It's a great one, the fourth episode of the Caddy Corner. And like I said, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks. Hey guys, we have a next edition here on the Scratch Golf Show, fourth instance of the Caddy Corner. We have a couple guys who I really have been looking forward to having these on for a while. Our first instance of the Live Tour Caddies, we have Chris Rice, a.k.a. Ricey, and Jonathan Smart, a.k.a. Smarty, of Caddy Clubhouse, which is a new business they're launching. But gentlemen, welcome to the Caddy Corner here on the Scratch Golf Show. Really excited to have you guys on.
Thanks for having us, Marco.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys are both across the pond. I've had a couple guys from the UK over, so really excited to do these. Glad we could find some time to get this done. But I know you guys just did an appearance on the Rick Shields show, which was a really cool episode, shedding some light on Caddy Clubhouse, as well as just you guys as you know, you guys have been around a ton from a caddying perspective. So I guess let's start there. I don't know who wants to go first, but you guys just want to do just a brief intro, who you are, and how you got started as a caddy, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Do you want to go, Ricey?
I'm happy to go, yeah. Hey guys, so obviously, as Marco introduced, I'm Chris Rice. I've been caddying on tour since 2007. I'll give you a little brief description of how I got on to becoming a caddy. So I used to play full-time. I was giving it a go, full-time amateur golf back in 2006, 2007. I was down to +3, playing all the big amateur events like British Amateur, Spanish Amateur, English Amateur. And then after 6 or 7 months, towards the end of 2007, I didn't play great. I was traveling a bit with a guy called Dave Horsey, English guy. And I played a few amateur events with him. I missed the cut in a couple of them. And obviously I was hanging around. So he's like, hey, you want to come caddy for me the weekend? So I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. Didn't even cross my mind that caddying was a career at that point. So yeah, I mean, I sort of didn't really know much about it. So I went out, caddied in on the weekend for him. He done well in a couple of events, and then he's like, "Hey, I've just been selected to caddy to play in the Walker Cup, which was in 2007, which is Great Britain and Ireland v America, at Royal County Down, which again is one of the best golf courses in the world." So he's like, yeah, and so we done 4 days at Royal County Down, 4 days at Royal County Down. We had a great, it was the year Rory McIlroy was in the team, and obviously the Americans was like Dustin Johnson.
Denny McCarthy was on that team. We just had Denny's caddy on.
I don't think he was. I think it was like Colt Norse.
Oh, he was on the 011 team. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Colt Norse, Dustin Johnson, Kyle Stanley, Webb Simpson, DJ, Trip Keeney. I mean, they had an unbelievable team. Billy Horschel. And then next week, obviously, he was turning pro and he was going to first stage of tour school. So we went to first stage. He won first stage. Didn't quite get through to finals, but he's like, hey, I've got a couple of invites on Challenge Tour. And yeah, I was working in a pro shop at the time, doing sort of part-time. Yeah. So he got 2 or 3 starts, got his full status. We went on Challenge Tour. He won twice, won the Order of Merit. And yeah, the rest is history. I've been caddying since.
That's an awesome story. That's an awesome story. And I know, Smarty, we want to get your story because I know you have a really cool story as well of how you got started. But that's an unreal story that you started in 2007. and have still been doing it. It's crazy because caddying is such a great career. It's something that I grew up, doing in my late 20s just as a club caddy, which I know you guys do as well from the caddy clubhouse side. But
Yeah.
that's an awesome story, and it's cool that you're still doing it. I know obviously you're currently on Harold Varner's bag on the Live
Yeah.
Tour, but you've worked with
Currently working for H.
a number of different players. I know you have 7 worldwide wins, and a number of different achievements on your record. So it's been an awesome career for you.
Yeah,
It's cool to see.
it's been a good journey, and hopefully it continues in that way.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, Smarty? I know you have a really good story, and I'm really excited to share this one. This was really cool when I heard it.
I'm kind of similar to Ricey in a sense. I had that dream of playing professionally. I
Yeah.
wanted to be the one that was hopefully picking up trophies. That didn't play out that way. Yeah, so had a go. Kind of had a decent amateur career. Turned pro for a few years, and I got lucky. I've always said like I kind of got lucky that one of my best friends was Danny Willett.
Yeah.
Played a lot of golf with him. Played with other guys that were on tour that I knew, and I remember it was when we were in Spain. We were playing like this little mini tour, and Dan came out to practice with us one week, and we'd been playing this course and it was his first hole, and it was a bit of a dogleg left, and we'd all been playing to the corner. I remember Dan turned up like he just rocked off the plane, just strolled onto barely lit like 5 or 10 balls, and he asked what this bunker was on the corner, and we were like, well, "What do you need to know that for?" And he was like, "295 to carry." He's like, "All right, okay, I'll let it drive," and just smoked this driver straight over the bunker. And like for the last 2 months, we'd all been playing right of it. And I always remember that shot, and I think that ended my golf career. So yeah, I think that was a big one for me. But no, and I loved the sport. He was just playing. It was frustrating. It was doing my head in that I wasn't getting where I wanted to get to, and I looked for the next best thing, and I thought caddying was that. I really, like I say, I enjoyed the sport. But I kind of struggled for a little while, even though I knew Dan, he obviously already had a caddy and things like that. I was like, I want to get into it. I was researching how I do it. Then met Ricey through Dan, and Ricey got me my first job.
That's awesome.
I don't know how long ago time passed, but like say 6-9 months or something like that, and got a message off Ricey. He was like, "Are you still looking? Are you looking to get into caddying?" I was like, "Yeah, 100%." He goes, "I've got a job for you." And this was like on a Monday. He goes, "Okay, Brandon Grace needs a caddy. You need to fly out to Italy tomorrow morning." And so flew out the next morning, did my 2-week trial, or like we always laugh about, is that you're always on trial.
Yeah.
And then, as similar to Ricey, really, 15 years later, still here doing it, and worked for numerous players and had loads of great experiences.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's such a cool story. Like I said, when I heard it, I was really excited to kind of share that on my platform here as well, kind of stateside. It's awesome, and the thing I love so much about golf is just you can do it for the rest of your life. You really have no idea, how often or when you can do it. You can do it until you're 80. I was just on vacation playing with my wife's grandparents last week. 82, still kicking, still playing. I hope I'm doing it at that age well. It's such a great game from that perspective. Awesome. But how and so from the caddy clubhouse perspective, and I know we're going to talk about that in a great bit, but what I love what you guys are doing is you're creating an outlet, because I know you've talked about it on Rick's show, but it's hard to find an outlet to actually get into caddy, whether it be the tour level or the club level. And so I love what you guys are doing. I love the idea behind Caddy Clubhouse and creating that outlet for people who maybe don't know, or maybe just have no idea where to start. And there are so many things that go into caddying. Like I know we were just talking offline, but some stuff that I love that you guys are doing, like the yardage books and actually getting the right number versus, most of us amateurs are just getting our rangefinder out and shooting the pin. There's a lot more that goes into it from a caddying perspective. So it's awesome, and I love to hear that. So I know you guys have caddied for a number of different players worldwide, and I know it's not just you two who also do Caddy Clubhouse. I know Adam does it as well, Thomas Peters Caddy. So between the three of you guys, 26 worldwide wins. Like I said, a major win, which Smarty, I know you won the 2016 Masters with Danny, which is awesome one I want to get into. And you guys have a lot of experience, and it's cool that you're ready to share that experience with Caddy Clubhouse. So a couple quick questions. Just can you talk a little bit about some other, you both mentioned you've worked with a number of world-class players, and Smarty, I know you're currently on Tringali's bag, but can you just talk to me a little bit about some of the other players you've worked with, just a few names, and kind of how you've bounced around from, just the players you've worked with?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I worked for Brandon Grace on Challenge Tour, worked through to Matt Baldwin, who just got his card the following year. Um, yeah, and then I've worked for a great range of players. Like I'm working for Cam at the minute.
Yeah,
First American I've worked for, and he's great. Like a different personality, different skill set.
yeah,
That's what's quite good about working for different players. It's like you've got to get used to them as people
yeah,
and their games, and that's where it's fun learning like a new challenge if you like.
yeah.
Worked for Rasmus Hogard, one of the twins,
Yep.
when he was 19 at the time when I started. And it was ridiculous just how mature
Yeah,
he was for his age, and just his golf IQ and his
yeah.
ability was ridiculous.
Speaking
Um,
of, not to interrupt you, but speaking of Royal County down, just Chase Murray down. I think it was Rasmus. It may have been Nikolai,
yeah, it
but
was Rasmus. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So I mean, he was always really impressive for such a young guy to have that
yeah,
sort of head on your shoulders, matched with the ability, was great. And then yeah, obviously working for Dan, I ended up like it took me, I think it was three and a half years caddying or so before I started working for him, and obviously working for one of your best friends,
right,
and having some success together was obviously brilliant.
yeah.
How did you get the Cam Tringali job, by the way, Smarty?
That
I
was from a little help from you as well.
I should be his agent.
You should. You should charge a fee for that, which I know.
I know I should, to be fair. Percentage of
Race,
his winnings would be great.
Race, I know you've worked with Harold for the past couple of years, but you've been on a couple different guys' backs too, right? Like I think you worked with Tyrrell as well, and a couple of other
Yes,
players.
yes, I've been on Harold's bag for 4 years now. Jeez, it's gone quick. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I've worked for some fiery guys in my time. So I worked for when I was working for Dave Horsey for 5.5 years, who was very professional, done everything how it's supposed to be done. Um, we had a lot of success together. And then I moved on to Pablo Larrazabal. I
another
spent two
fiery
years with
guy.
Pablo. I mean, what a guy! I mean, I've never seen a short game like that guy's before.
Yeah,
Again, we had a bit of success with him, and then I started working for Tyrrell. I done 2 years, two and a half years with Tyrrell. I mean, he could play.
yeah. Just
Serious,
one.
serious player.
Yeah,
So yeah, so two fiery guys, and then I went on to work for the Emiliano Grillo.
yeah,
I'd done a few years with Emmy. Again, I seem to be attracted to these guys that are just really fiery. And then obviously
yeah.
I got the opportunity to go and work for Harold, who's the complete opposite end of the scale
Right.
to them three guys.
Yeah,
A lot more chilled out. Yeah, it's been great. It's been 4 years now, and it's gone pretty quick.
yeah.
And hopefully we have some more good years together.
Yeah, I know you guys won in Saudi, which was awesome, that long putt.
Yeah, that
But
was.
yeah, that was awesome. And I know you guys, and obviously did it with Tommy and Fino, who I know you're super close to. But
Yeah.
I guess one thing I want to talk about is you guys have worked for, like you said, a number of different players. But from a caddy perspective, like I think you had talked about it, you have to be adaptable because you, as a caddy, the personality is different from every player, and whether it's a routine or regardless, but like you need to be adaptable. So I guess can you talk a little bit about how you've adapted from player to player, and whether it's just your routine, or I guess how important that is from the caddy perspective in that relationship?
Yeah, I think it just goes into simple things of like when you're in contention, like they're all different. Well, we're all different personalities for a start, but
Right.
like, what you say to one guy in contention, it can be so different to, um, working for someone else. Like how me and Cam work together and the things that we try and focus on or talk about, whether we're under pressure or things are going well, are very different to what I'd speak to with other players I've worked for. And I think, Adam always goes on about it, and he's 100% right when he says it. It's like being adaptable is such a tough skill as a caddy because you bring your own personality, but the most important thing is how do you get the most out of whoever you're working for?
Right.
And we can go into like details of how you find yardages and course management and things like that, which I guess a lot of players just expect you to know, expect you to be good at, to have that good golf IQ. But I think managing them as people is really tough. It's really
Yeah.
really tough, and understanding your player is all that matters. What gets them motivated, what gets them out of a dark place when they go there, and things like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. I agree. I think from that perspective, it's crazy. Like even in everyday world, how adaptable you have to be, but you just never realize how important that type of stuff is when you're in contention. And that's when when chips when it matters most from a golfer perspective, because tensions are obviously at the most high when you're under pressure, and obviously you want to get there, and it's great, right? But at the end of the day, like you really need to know and be on top of your stuff when you're going through those accomplishments.
Yeah.
Speaking of accomplishments, I'm curious from your guys' perspective, and this will be a general question I want to ask both of you. But I guess what would you consider some of your top or biggest accomplishment as a caddy so far in your career?
Still being out here. Still getting employed.
You also, man, it's not only employed, but you guys, the work you guys do on your body is like, you're walking 8 miles a day or whatever with a 40-pound bag. That alone is taxing on your body, let alone
being upright and employed is the two best achievements.
That's awesome. Chris, can you talk to me? I know because you obviously Harold has, I know didn't win on the PGA Tour, but has won. Obviously, he won on Live in DC, and as well as the Saudi International, which I know was super cool. So, can you talk me through a little bit about that achievement from your perspective and what that was like for you going through that with him?
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, we never won on the PGA Tour. We come close a few times. But listen, I know how hard he works.
Yeah.
Obviously on the PGA Tour, and there was a lot of stuff going on around before he went to Live and signed with Live,
Yeah.
and obviously when we went to Saudi, it was one of them weeks where it was like again there was a lot of Live talk, but he just got his head down. He was doing what he needed to do. And then obviously we played great during the week. We were obviously leading at one point during that last round, and it was tough. If you've ever been to that golf course, it's so windy. Every wind's a crosswind. And yeah, he was he hung in there right until the end. And obviously we got on the 17th tee, and we'd seen that Bubba had birdied the last, so we were now 2 behind with 2 to play.
Yeah.
And he basically looked at me and was like, "It's time to go." And he hit a great. He was straight downwind on 17 par 4.
Yeah.
The pin was right at the front. He hit this driver. It was like 380 to the front. He hit this driver. He couldn't have left it in a better spot in the front bunker. And he got up and down, made birdie. And we literally, he looked at me and he said, I was starting to walk away, and he's like, "Hey." I was like, "Why?" He goes, "We got a decision to make." And I was like, "I know." He's like, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, we ain't come here to play for second place, bro. Let's go for it."
Yeah.
And because obviously the tee box was forward, and there was a hazard. There was a lake straight through the fairway.
Yeah.
So if we took it on an aggressive line, there was a good chance we were going to go in the water. So he was sort of referring to do we lay it back and try play for 4, because he knew we were 1 behind. So he's like, "Right, let's go for it." And we took an aggressive line with the driver down the right hand side.
Yeah.
And he had like 190 odd yards, I think he had in, and we were hitting 9-9, which shows you how strong the wind was.
Yeah.
And he got it a little bit heavy, and I was like, "Shit!" We've now left like a 90. The pin was on 30 yards. He'd left a 90-foot putt. And he hadn't asked me to read a putt all day, and he's got a 90-foot putt up and over a swale with like 5 or 6 feet of right to left break on it. And he's like, "Hey, can you come help me read this?" I was like, "Oh, here we go." I got over there, and I was like, I just look at it, and I just said, "Mate, just get it somewhere where you're going to give yourself a chance of making 4 and get in a playoff." He's like, "Get out of the way." So I literally just stood there with Finno on the side of the green. Finno's one of my best mates. Like, we've got some great stories. And he hit this putt, and halfway there, we all sort of looked at each other, and we're like, "There we go." And we literally both put our fingers up like this.
Yeah.
And as it went in, the emotion just took over. I think I nearly snapped about 5 clubs in the golf bag. I dropped it that hard. But I was so happy for him. Like
Yeah.
he'd been through so much, and the work ethic he was putting in, and to actually see it pay off was under them circumstances when he had to
Yeah.
pull it out of the bag and finish Bird the Eagle to win. Yeah, it was a great feeling. He's such a great kid as well. It's
Yeah.
obviously which makes it a lot better as
Yeah.
well.
No, I mean, obviously, I know. I mean, recently, I know I follow him on Instagram and stuff, and he was just doing stuff for the hurricane that hit kind of in that area. But one of
Yeah,
the best. I mean, obviously, I don't really care what tour you play on. I don't care whether you live
yeah,
PGA Tour. That kind of stuff is just bullshit at this point. Like,
yeah.
no one cares from that perspective. But like, he is so talented, like you said, and
He
he was one of
yeah
those and he's just such a good dude. Like, he is just one of the nicest
he
people
is.
from anyone I've talked to. I've had David Geese on. I don't caddies for Bud Colley who plays out of Quill Hollow, who has
Yeah.
always had good things to say about Harold and what he does for that. And so
Well,
that's awesome.
he does so much for the community, for the kids.
Yeah.
He loves kids. Like his foundation does so much to get kids into golf. Like he's a real people's person, which is
Yeah.
great. Like he doesn't take life too seriously, and he just loves helping people.
Yeah.
Like I say, his foundations is growing, and he loves just getting the kids into the golf, which is great to see.
For
Which
sure.
again, when you put like when he's winning golf tournaments, it makes it way better because you know how he's feeling and
Right.
the emotion that's going through him as well at the same time.
For sure. Well, speaking, like I said, of another cool accomplishment, Smarty, you won the 2016 Masters, which is an awesome story, like you said, with Danny Willett, one of your best friends. Let's just start there. I mean, just talk me through the week. I mean, for those who don't know, that was the year that, obviously the Jordan Spieth year where he, I don't want to say collapsed, but kind of just fell apart on the back nine and, where he made that big number on 12. But just talk me through that week because I have to imagine that's got to be on your top list of accomplishments. And, I mean, everyone dreams of being and playing at Augusta, but so I can only imagine how cool winning is. That at a place that special. So I guess can you talk me through that week? Any cool stories you could share? Kind of going through that with one of your best friends.
Yeah,
How long have we got, Marco?
I'll go as long as you guys want, man.
Oh, we'll be here all night. I mean, the stories this guy's got from Augusta.
Yeah, I mean, we were just grateful to be there because Dan had just had what a lot of people maybe don't realise is he just had his first child the week before, and we didn't know when his son was coming.
Right.
We didn't know if we were going to play, so I went out there. I think Sunday night, got there Monday. Dan still wasn't there. Didn't know if he was 100% coming. He obviously flew out. Got there Monday night, played a couple of 9 holes, and we were like, it was pretty relaxed. Just did a little bit of practice. Obviously, he was playing really well coming into it.
Yeah.
I think he was 13th in the world at the time, and come off a win earlier in the year. And yeah, I mean, it was surreal. It was like like you said, it's what everyone dreams of doing. And just those last 3 holes is when you felt the big pressure. Like that was leading a major, seeing Dan's name at the top of the scoreboard, and
Yeah.
and getting a front row seat to just how he played those last 3 holes was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But just even the crowds and stuff, like they really got behind him, and you kind of got a sense, even though we didn't know about the scoreboard, you knew we were getting closer.
Right.
Especially walking off that 15th tee, I'm like, people are really, really cheering for him here. I'm like,
Yeah.
are we a bit closer than we think we are? And obviously, when we come off that 15th green, and that scoreboard changed, obviously that became very apparent.
Right.
But yeah, it was just like you said, it's just very surreal, and it took a good couple of weeks for it to even come close to sinking in.
Yeah.
And I think as a caddy, winning any event is mega. I remember Ricey that we won in Sun City. That was the first event I'd ever caddied for a winner with Dan, and I remember Ricey telling me after, he goes, winning's different. It's just a different feeling.
Yeah.
It is very surreal, and it's mega. So any event you win is class. But obviously Augusta, I can probably it didn't. It took me 2 weeks to realise what we'd done. When all the circus and everything like that had started to calm down a touch. It was it was incredible.
So did you keep any memorabilia from Augusta? I guess what do you get to keep as a caddy? I'm genuinely
Everything I
curious.
could.
You might not be able to publish this bit.
If they'd have let me, I'd have gone around collecting the pins.
I thought he was going to
That-
wear the boiler suit tonight for the podcast.
oh, I wish you would have. That would have been
Yeah, it's
so
just in the
good.
wash, otherwise I would.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That is so cool. Like I said, not only winning, like you said, winning any tournament is so special. Like for me, like, I'm a decent golfer. I play to a +1. So for me, I grew up playing. I do it as a hobby, but I'm just a super competitive person. And so winning or just, beating your competition for the day is a great feeling. I can't imagine it. And Augusta at a place that special. I mean, I've been there. I went to the 2011 Masters with my dad, and the camera doesn't do it justice. So I can only imagine walking up, 16, 17, 18. Every golfer dreams of making that walk. And so to be there has got to be just so cool, man. That's such an awesome, checklist to put on your resume as a caddy. So now, and let's talk about the meat and potatoes of what we want to focus on today. And that is your guys' business, which is Caddy Clubhouse, which is I guess, let me turn it over to you guys. I guess let's talk a little bit about the idea behind it and then go into more of what the actual business is and what you guys want to focus on. But let's start there. What's the idea behind Caddy Clubhouse? How did you guys kind of start this idea of a business that you're now launching?
I mean, just purely messages that me and Ricey, and I'm sure if you spoke to other caddies, they get is
Yeah.
just on the social media. How do I get into caddying?
Yeah.
That's where it all started, and we were like, let's try and do something about it and try and give people a chance. And it's kind of every little time we've discussed it, and it's progressed over the last. I mean, we've been speaking about it for like 4 years.
Yeah.
It's like this last year and a half, we've gone right. Let's get it done and make something happen. But yeah, just basically, we've got two courses: a tour course and a club course. Because as we've developed and Adam's come on board, understanding the club side of things, and just what a great career that is. We're talking about these stories that we've had caddying professionally, and all the places we go in the world and the people we meet, but it's the same club caddying. Like, you meet some interesting people, you caddy on some unbelievable golf courses. It's the same. It is the same vibe, and I think a lot of people maybe forget that at times. So yeah, basically we've put two online courses together. We've tried to give, especially the tour course, we've tried to give you a real fast track. And what I'd mentioned earlier, the stuff that players expect you to know.
Yeah.
We're taking you through that. We've got a lot of experts in to kind of help us with stats and the green reading side of things from the aim point and everything.
Yeah.
And we've tried to take you through all the mistakes that we've made over our careers, and we've tried to give you those answers so you don't, that first impression and the first job you get, hopefully it's a great first impression.
Yeah, no, and you guys have done some really cool stuff with, like, I know you guys have recently published some trailers and clips on Instagram, which have been super awesome. Is it caddy.clubhouse where people should follow you on Instagram just to stay tuned?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'll make sure I link that in the description below from the Instagram, and we'll make sure we link the website as well if you guys are interested. Check out Caddy. I think it's caddyclubhouse.com, right? For the,
that's right.
the
Yeah,
website.
Correct.
Yeah.
Awesome. But you guys, I mean, I know, Ricey, I was DMing you when you guys dropped those previews, man. Those were really cool from the footage perspective. I mean, what you guys do and what you guys are doing is awesome. So like I said, make sure you guys give them a follow. And so, yeah, and I know you had talked about it from the club caddy side, right? It's not just the tour caddy, and you guys do the club caddying course as well, because like you said, you have Adam, who's caddy for Thomas Peters, also joining the crew, and that's such a cool job, right? Like you said, I not only was a club caddy kind of growing up, but I've also played a ton of courses over my time, whether it be Sawgrass. I just got done at Arcadia Bluffs, which is a couple destination courses here, but the club caddy side can be a career, right? And you don't have to do it as a side hobby, but there's different avenues, right? You can't really get into it without knowing somebody or just kind of just having a hookup, or just, if you just are just genuinely curious. So the fact that you guys are providing two outlets for two different career paths within the caddy realm is so cool. And like I said, these are such great jobs to have for people who are obsessed with golf and maybe want to have a career in golf where they're, like you said, not hitting the shots under pressure. So
yeah. We're gonna tell you one cool thing. We were on a phone call. We've laughed about this for the last 3 or 4 days. We're sitting here saying, like, we've had what, 26 wins between us, one major
Yeah.
win, whatever. We had a conversation with a guy the other day who's club caddy, and he basically told us, he said, "Hey guys, I've worked for 18 major winners, and I've worked for two presidents of the United States." And we were like, "Holy shit. Like you've just pissed on our parade." Like, and that was a great, I mean, like we can talk about tour stories all day,
Yeah.
but people sort of forget about the club caddying side and
Yeah.
how good a job it is. And these people that you meet, like we always go on about, we get a front row seat to see these guys week in, week out. Like,
Yeah.
and then you get the club caddying side and they get it as well. Like the amount of celebrities, the amount of top golfers that go to these events, to these courses, their club caddies are getting great opportunities to
Yeah.
meet new people and meet very successful people as well at the same time. So club caddying's a big thing nowadays. It's not just about getting on tour.
No, yeah, I agree. I think from our caddy corner, this segment, I want to expand more on the club caddy side. Like I've got some friends down in Florida, and here in Michigan, it's cold in the winter, but there's some really cool like Bears club caddies who I want to get on. So I definitely am going to expand into that side of the business. 'Cause like you said, the stories you hear from the tour side are different, but the really really good stories are from those guys who have been around the same course forever. Like you said, you never know who they've worked for, and
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some really cool content from that aspect. So I love
Oh,
how you guys are doing that. So from a course perspective, I guess I know we don't want to give too much away because but can you tell me just a little bit about some of the educational material that you have in the tour course, kind of what the modules look like, and just explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's all self-paced learning. So it's probably going to be we're just kind of editing everything down like the
Yeah.
production company, but I think it's going to be around 7 hours the tour course,
Okay.
7 to 8 hours it should be. But we've got, like I said, we mentioned earlier, experts like Duncan Kerry. He's done a full stats module for us.
Yeah.
So he's worked with Ryder Cup teams, President Cup teams. He works with the Rippers team at the minute. So a real delve into the stats side of things because
Yeah.
that's become really apparent these last few years, or maybe the last 10 years, I suppose. And again, I think it's just something that maybe players will have conversations with you about. So it's important that you've got a good understanding of it
Yeah.
early. And again, we've gone into the green reading side, just how you read greens for different players. Like a lot of
Yeah.
guys use aim points, some guys see a curve. So we'll go into like discussing how you read greens, whether it's grain, whether it's little things like at Augusta, a
Yeah.
lot of straight puts, all break towards Race Creek. So going into those little things that you find at different courses. So there's a lot. I mean, just yardage books module alone, you can
Yeah.
imagine how
Yeah.
long that is. We
Oh
talk
yeah.
about how you walk a golf course when we go and prep a golf course. What things you look for. It's really, like I say, we've tried to put all our knowledge
Yeah.
into this course, and that's why there is more than one of us doing the course. Like, and if we could, we'd take every caddy on PGA Tour, every caddy
Yeah.
on Live, every
Right.
caddy on DP, and go right. Just give us your info, and let's try and get it into this course. And I think Ricey would agree. Like we've all learned from caddies on our career. Like all the
Yeah.
things we do now is probably something I've picked up from Ricey or picked up from Billy Foster or
Right.
like AJ, for example. I've got something from Augusta for him and stuff like that. You constantly learning. So we've
Yeah.
we've tried our best to get everything we can into this tour course, and I think it'll evolve, and we've had conversations already of people that want to do some content for us and kind of push that tour course even more.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see where it goes.
That's awesome. I like you said, there's so much that goes into caddying. Like people don't realize it. Like it's crazy. Like you said, just the yardage books alone, we could probably cut an entire podcast just on yardage books. But you guys, and it's not just educational courses, right? You guys are also looking to kickstart, like you said, Racy, or I'm Smarty, when you started caddying, you never imagined winning the Masters. So you guys are also connecting caddies to jobs as well after they complete the course, correct?
Yeah, exactly like that. So what we've done is we're speaking to agents, we're speaking to players, and clubs especially,
Yeah.
and we're just trying to give people a start. So as our network grows, the more opportunities that will
Right.
hopefully come. And if we can just get people their first start, I mean, we've done a full module on how to find your first job. Yeah, the
Yeah.
steps of, just
Right.
genuinely some of the steps that we think you should take. A lot of that is obviously gaining experience. We spoke about club caddying, speaking about like working on mini tours and just getting connected with pros, because you might think, oh, I don't want to work a mini tour or an amateur event. Well, look at Michael Grella with Jordan Spieth,
Right.
US Am, caddying amateur events, and they've had a pretty good career together.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think just
Exactly.
just making people aware that everyone thinks, oh, I need to go straight to PGA Tour. Look, I mean, myself and Chris, like we both started on Challenge Tour,
Right.
and that's where Corn Ferry Tour. That's where all your talent's coming from.
Yeah.
Your next Rory McIlroy, your next Tiger Woods. That's where they are, and you've more chance of getting a great job at that level and working through with someone, and just making people aware of where to look and look for the opportunities. And yeah, part of the website is you'll be able to create your own profile. Um, Agents will be able to access that, put job posts on when they're available. You'll be able to put your name forward, and you'll have everything on there. You'll be able to list anything you've basically like a LinkedIn for caddying, if you like. You can
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of put all your accomplishments on there, what languages you speak out, how old you are, whatever that might be. And hopefully, like I say, that if the best thing that can come for us from all this is that we create some opportunities, and guys have success in caddying.
No, yeah, it's so awesome. Like I said, I love what you guys are doing. This is, like I said, very near and dear to my heart. Just growing up playing golf and being a caddy, and it's so cool. Like you mentioned, a lot of the caddies we've had on have said that. Like for example, I know Dave Geese. He was talking about like you don't want a caddy on the nationwide tour. Like you're not looking to start there. You're looking to find a guy, to kind of similar to any job field, right? Like for me, like I didn't start my career high up. You had to work your way up the ranks of kind of, and you got to find the right guy, and you got to, put your teeth in. Like it's obviously a great job, but at the end of the day, it's not an easy job. Right. And it's cool that you guys are giving people access to that type of stuff and just where to even find it. Like I said, if you told me where to look for a caddy job, I couldn't tell you. And I'm pretty well connected in golf. I do this often. So it really is cool what you guys are doing. I guess from the website perspective, are you guys officially live? Can people go on the website now and get a course, or when is, I guess, the official like launch date of the courses?
Yeah, we're still probably another 3 weeks away
Okay.
until the courses. We're just kind of finalising some edits and
Yeah.
things like that from the production side. But yeah, it's going to be around another 3 weeks. Another
Okay.
3 weeks, everything will be live, and guys will be able to work through the course, and go from there.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and I know.
the website's live at the minute, and
Yeah.
obviously you can join. There's like a waiting list, an email list. So as soon as the course goes live, we will notify you through email.
Yeah.
So it's
So like,
live, so you can go on, you can see what's on the website, you can see what it's all about, you can see all about the club caddying bit, the tour caddying bit. It's got all the modules that are included in the courses. Um, so everything's on there. It's basically like a brochure right now.
yeah, no, I get it. And like I said, we'll link that in the description below. Make sure you check it out. If you're interested at all, make sure you join the wait list. I know when you guys were on Rick's show, that was very popular, and one of the questions he was getting was how to become a caddy in the chat. And I know we're not live, but I'm sure that will be popular. So if you're interested at all, like I said, we'll link the website in the description below. Make sure you check it out if you're interested at all in Caddy Clubhouse. From that perspective, I guess, do you guys have any plans on bringing in any other caddies on, or is it just going to be kind of you three for now and just kind of go from there and scale it as, I guess, what do your guys' plans look like for, I know it's still new, but just from that perspective?
Yeah. Well, I mean, from we've been discussing it for a long time, and we definitely want to bring other experts in, like
Yeah.
other caddies in, because I think if we can give people what we're creating this community, like if we can
Yeah.
give them access to other people who've been there and done it, and not just our opinions, like different people who've worked for different people who've worked a lot longer than us and different
Yeah.
experiences, and we're going to try and, well, we are going to be doing monthly webinars just for the community, so people have access to people that we bring in, and exactly what you're saying is more information and more caddies.
Cool. Cool. Awesome. Well, like I said, Caddy Clubhouse, if you guys are interested at all, we'll link all that in the description. Make sure you follow them on Instagram. Check out their website. They do some really cool stuff. I love the layout of the website, and I'm really excited to see what you guys do. So before we wrap up, I just want to ask you guys a few rapid fire questions, and then I'll let you guys go. Do you either of you, I guess, from a caddy role model perspective, who would that be for you, if you have one, if that you looked up to, or someone that is super important in your caddying career?
Ricey?
I think a few of the older guys they've got a lot of experience. I remember, and I took this with me when I first started caddying. I remember asking Billy Foster, because I was a young kid at the time, and I was
Right.
like sort of trying to get information, as much information as I can. And Billy Foster gave me the best bit of advice ever. He says, mate, he says, don't ever, not so much don't ever be a yes man, but don't ever stand next to your player with doubt in your mind. If you ever think that your man is over a shot and he's not hitting the right shot, or the wind changes, pull him away and tell him
Yeah.
what you think. Because if you don't tell him what you think, the errors will occur,
Right.
and there'll be plenty of them. But I think Billy, obviously speaking from a lot of experience, Mick Doran, who is now on Live Tour with Lee Westwood. Mick Donaghy, for me, is probably, who's on Tyrrell Hatton's bag. He's probably one of the best caddies out there, I think. And I've learned a lot from them over the years, which is great. We've been, obviously, to be around them and gain experience from them has been unbelievable.
I was going to say Ricey, but I'm going to say someone else now.
Thanks.
No, for me, like, one person who stands out, and I think we spent a lot of time with him. B. Lordy, who caddies for Henrik Stenson.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of stuff off him over the years. Just listening in, really, not asking too much. Just listening in. He'd be one person that stood out for me that I've learned a lot off. But then, all the people that Ricey just said, and then, there's so many on the PJ Tour, like Ted Scott. I mean, he's got obviously his record speaks for himself.
Yeah, I was gonna say 4 green jackets is pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's genuinely so many that you can learn off. But the one that would stand out for me would be Lordy, who caddies for Henrik Stenson. I think I've probably learned the most off him, and that's kind of from afar and just being out in groups with them.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Cool. Couple good answers. We got a lot of Paul Tesori from our first caddies, so change it up a little bit from a variety perspective. I know Paul is awesome. I want to get him on at some point, but you guys, Billy Foster's a legend. I know when him and Fitzy won at Brookline, that was a super cool moment for him. I love Billy Foster. That was awesome.
And they're doing that podcast as well, at 19th hole as well.
Oh yeah,
you'll probably get some funny stories from them guys on that.
Yeah,
him and Terry Monday.
Yes, I need to.
Hilarious.
I would love to get Billy on. I'll have to reach out to him at some point. Sorry, just lost my train of thought. Favorite golf course? Doesn't have to be one you caddied or played. Just favorite golf course in general.
I don't think that's a hard question for Smarty.
I think you might be surprised.
Oh, come on. Are you going to say Royal Bootle, where I started my golf?
No, I've never played it, but I've heard great things. I'd go Sunningdale. Sunningdale is the one place I could play those two courses for the rest of my life and never play anywhere else. Yeah, that I know Augusta and everything like that was what Rice is expecting, but if I had to play somewhere for the rest of my life, it'd be Sunningdale.
What about you, Racey?
I think one of the best for me is Pebble Beach.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the holes around that golf course are just breathtaking.
Yeah.
When it's a nice, I mean, don't get me wrong, when the weather's shit, it's my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
And that's a point where I'm like, why am I caddying?
Right.
I'd rather be inside, warm, selling Mars bars. But when the sun shines there, it's one of the best places in the world.
Yeah, I bet. I've never been. We've got a course similar here. I just played in Michigan yesterday. I classified as like the Pebble Beach of Michigan, right on Lake Michigan, just breathtaking views for miles. If you guys ever get to Michigan, you got to check out Arcadia Bluffs.
Awesome.
But I want to play Pebble. I've heard nothing but good things. I was interesting. I didn't think you'd pick a stateside course, but I digress. Pebble is awesome, and I've heard my buddy got to play it in July. I'm jealous. I saw the pictures, but okay, favorite golfer. This doesn't have to be your boss, but I'm curious. Do you guys have a favorite golfer?
Yeah, it's got to be Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
You can't. I don't.
No, that's
know.
interesting. No, it's pop. Like that's when I've asked every person like who's worked in golf, they've all said Tiger, and I'm just genuinely curious.
I'm biased. Like I don't care what anyone says. He's still the best player that lives by a long way.
Agree.
Yeah, but that's just my opinion.
I was going to say Cameron Tringali.
Stitching me up.
Do you guys have any cool Tiger stories? I'm curious. Have you ever got to play with them or talk to him or Stevie at all?
We play with him when I caddy for Pablo Larrazabal in the Dubai Desert Classic. I can't even remember what year it was, but I remember he wasn't playing great at the time. I think he'd obviously was going through a few injuries.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he pulled out after 2 rounds. But anyway, I remember standing on the 5th tee, and I remember he got this 5-wood out, and he literally hit about 3 feet behind the ball, straight fat. And I remember looking at Pablo like, I was like, what has just happened? It literally went about 80 yards off the tee.
Oh man!
But then we get round to the 10th hole, and it's a par 5, and I remember the green was so firm, and it was downwind, and I think he had like 270 in, and he had these long irons that were like you butter your toast with. It was ridiculous, these blades.
Yeah.
And he hit this thing. I have never seen anyone downwind hit the ball so high with a 3-iron.
Yeah.
And no one was keeping it on the green. No one. Everyone, even if you pitched it on the middle of the green, it was going over the back, gone. And he stopped it within 10 feet. Downwind with a 3-iron. I was like, how'd you go from fatting a 5-wood to hitting probably one of the best golf shots I've ever seen since I was caddying? It was outrageous.
We're all human, right? Even him.
But
it's crazy.
But what a great guy he was, though, to be fair. I mean, he talked the whole round. I think he was slightly different to how he was back in the day, where he was like, obviously you've watched him and he never really talks. He's so in his own. But yeah, we got to pick his brain a little bit, which was really good.
Yeah, I bet that's got to be so cool, man. Just from
you've been out with him quite a lot, Smarty, have you?
Yeah, a little bit. So one for me, like, is nothing related to golf, but well, it is related to golf. We played him in the quarterfinals, a match play in Austin.
Yeah.
I remember that 14th was right down the side of the river, and all these people. I mean, some of the things that we'd heard on the way around, like everyone sees, like on TV, you see the shots he hits and crowds going wild, but you can't believe the comments that he's dealing with. Like just in between shots, just people shouting at him and everything like that. I don't forget, we walked back from the 13th green all the way to the 14th tee, and someone on this boat started just pumping full volume, "Eye of the Tiger," and it was quite close to the match. And he was walking back to the tee, and I remember I was careful, Lucas. I'm like, oh, this is about as one-sided as it gets, mate. There's only one person they want to win this match. But I'm like, some of the stuff that they deal with, like, he must have dealt with over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in between shots. I mean, yeah. And luckily, I was like, I hope they turn this off ready for years. I mean, now on Live, we're obviously used to the music.
Right, yeah.
Like, you're used to everything being perfectly quiet. Yeah. And there's this guy in his boat just pumping Eye of the Tiger as we're walking to the tee.
I've been to Austin Country Club too. I actually, ironically enough, went to the last match play event in 2022. And for how close that water is to those couple holes along the water,
I thought you were going to say you were the one on the boat there.
No, I wish. No, that would have been hilarious. But God, that had to be so cool. I forgot you caddied for Lucas Biergaard. I guess let's talk. Yeah. You guys, it was 1-up, right? That you beat him.
Yeah, we on the last hole. Yeah, I mean, it was incredible. Like the opposite, like of in match play, it's very much like there's not generally much chat goes on. It's like
right.
you versus them, like, and it was just great to see Tiger. He was so focused. I mean, Lucas played unbelievable, obviously, But like just to see how Tiger acts and stuff is, incredible. Like he slows himself down. He manages his game unbelievable.
Yeah,
It was incredible just to be in and around him, and that experience, like I say, with the crowds and everything was amazing.
for sure. All right, guys. Well, that seems like a good stopping point. I know we've already kept you for far too long. Before we wrap up in closing, anything you want to say, feel free, like I said, plug Caddy Clubhouse, whatever, before we wrap up, any messages, and then I will let you guys go. Thank you so much for the time. This has been really fun.
Oh, you're good. Thanks, Marco. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, it was great. Thanks for having us.
But yeah, if you
absolutely.
want to become a caddy like Marco, I believe you were a caddy. You were a caddy back in the day, were you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You haven't told us any of your caddy stories.
I honestly, don't really have any good ones. Like being a club caddy, I had a regular, and so like for me, like I always tried to caddy for. I don't want to say this in a bad way. Like I always tried to caddy for somebody who was a better player. Like I just felt like being a better golfer, I relate better than I do to like an 18 handicap, and that's not just that's just me personally. It's easier for me as a player to judge somebody like the likelihood of someone who's not a great player hitting an actual number is few and far between from a shot perspective, and so it's always hard to kind of go through that. I had a really, really, really good guy. Like he was really nice to me. He treated me really, really good. I caddied for him on league nights. I was on Saturday regular. He was very, very nice to me. He would take me. He took me out golfing a couple times, and for me, it's more the thing I love more, and you guys have kind of talked about it. It's just the relationships you build. Like the thing you do in golf. And a cool story, ironically enough. So I actually this summer, when the Rocket Mortgage Classic comes through Detroit, which is not far from where I'm from here in Michigan, I caddied for Mav McNeely in the Pro-Am at my old course. So the course I grew up at caddying and was actually playing. My buddy is the golf director there, like the golf superintendent, whatever, the director of golf. And he said, hey, I've got some PGA Tour guys in town for a Pro-Am. Do you want to caddy? And I was like, yeah, I would love to. Like, I want to go do it. It's for me, it was cool just from an experience. I grew up on this course as a kid, and now here I am caddying for a PGA Tour player. And I was like, when am I going to ever have the opportunity to caddy for a PGA Tour player again? So that was super cool. Like talking to Mav, like I don't know if you guys have ever got to play with him or talk to him much, but he just the nicest guy. I mean, for me, I was trying to obviously I was kart caddying for a foursome, so it's not like I was only with Mav, but I was riding in his cart, and just for me, I was trying to pick his brain on more of just the golf side of just like. What are you doing on this wedge shot? Like, because I'm trying to get better. Like I said, I'm a decent player, so I want to get better, but. Just the nicest guy, and like we had a great time. We had 3 other guys who were really, really, really cool guys. A couple guys who weren't so great, but we're just there for the fun time. And like I said, caddying for a PGA Tour player, and like it's not really caddying. You're just kind of in the cart and doing that. And I got the bib on, and me and Mav got a really cool picture. But I think that was a really cool story. Like I said, he was just the nicest guy. And it was just something I got to check off my bucket list. Like I said, it just ended up being a course I grew up at. So really, really cool story that I like. Like I said, it's a great job. I love it. I wish I could still do it. I wish I had the time, unfortunately. But I think anyone interested in caddying should definitely check out Caddy Clubhouse to see how to get started in a career in caddying.
Awesome.
Mega.
Thanks for having us, Marco.
For sure, guys.
I hope everything goes good with the podcast. It was awesome.
4th instance of the Caddy Corner. Make sure you subscribe below. Thanks, guys.